Welcome to the Great American Collectible Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your host, Tom Zappola, and Red Sox Hall of Famer, Rico Petrocelli.
Oh,
hello,
God.
there.
Oh, my
Welcome,
God.
everyone.
Oh, my God.
What's the matter now?
Look how far we're apart. Look
I know,
at this.
and
I can fit a piece of paper in between the two of us.
Yeah, well, you'll keep touching me. I don't know about that.
I mean, please.
All right. What do you want me to do?
Hey, welcome to the Great American Collectible Show. Tom Zappola, my co-host and my good pal, Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli is in the house. We have a great show today. Danny Wulkin from Memory Lane Auctions is going to be with us. He's going to be with us for the whole hour. Al Crisifulli from Love of the Game is going to join us a little later on. Remember, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, or listen to us on any of your favorite podcast platforms. What's your favorite? X.
What's the other one?
X. Right?
What's the other one? Let's say that.
YouTube.
Yeah, right.
Spotify.
No, YouTube.
You're pathetic. You're pathetic. And also, you can listen to us on 980 WCAP up in the Boston area. But before we chat with Dan, our headline, and I want to ask both of you guys this.
All right.
Store employee sentenced in theft case. SGC's 23 grading numbers, auction results, and all of that. This is from Rich Miller's blog. But we're going to talk about this one guy. A Texas man who stole boxes of cards from the sports card shop where he was employed has been sentenced. Gentry Domingo Holt, 35, pleaded guilty to theft charges after he was caught on camera stealing from OPC baseball cards in wherever, Caldwell, whatever the hell that is.
Caldwell, Texas.
Clips from, there it is.
Huh?
Really? Yeah. Clips from surveillance cameras showed Holt swiping inventory from the store shelves and carrying out. He swiped $15,000 in merchandise. What do you think he was sentenced to?
35 years.
3 years of probation and a $1,500 fine, $290 in court costs, 100 hours of community service, and $500 in restitution to cover the deductible on the insurance claim. I have a problem with that.
No kidding.
I think he should have been brought to the gallows because this is getting out of control with stealing and breaking into card shops. So you're going to make what do they call it? An example.
Yeah,
the gallows.
You know what it is? It's probably the judge thought, well, these are base cards.
Exactly.
So, what am I going to do? That's nothing. I'm not.
Well, anyways, you can get the whole story on Sports Collectors Daily. Go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. Okay, let's bring in our good pal, Danny. Hey, Danny, you know what I just realized, Rico and I?
Wait a minute. Don't say Rico and I. Let's
no,
say what
you too.
Just noticed.
Because when, we're working remotely, so we don't hear any of the music. Like when you introduced the show, you did the lead-in for us. We can't hear the music, and it sounds so much nicer with your voice in front of the music. But I guess when we watch the show, we're going to hear the music. Correct?
I appreciate that very much.
All right, Danny. Dan Wulkin isn't. First of all, we've talked about this. We're going to be talking about it a lot. I believe next week we're going to be showing the link that Rico and I are going to be doing a fundraiser on March 2nd down here in Florida for Little Smiles. We're sending an email out, but please, we're asking you $10, $20, $5, $1, whatever you can afford. If you could click on the link, we would really, really appreciate it. You can watch it right now. The link is in the comments section. But if you can do that, whatever you could contribute, we want to help these kids.
These kids are precious.
They're precious kids, kids that are sick, kids that are in hospitals, hospice, homeless. This is a great organization. Yeah. And Dan, $93, 93 cents of every buck goes right to the kids.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful.
Not too bad. All right. You have an auction going on. First of all, let's talk about that. Let's get that out of the way because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, the auction ends January 13th, this Saturday. You got to get your bids in by 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in order to go into extended bidding. And we've got some incredible stuff. I'm actually going to check out our catalog, which I have in front of me. Lot 1 is this 1915 Babe Ruth rookie era postcard. I mean, the thing is obviously well over, 100 years old. And it's just something that, go find another. They're so impossible to find. We've got a 1920s Yankee card. This is actually one of Ruth's first Yankee cards. And that's lot number 2.
Ruth is really still hot, man, huh?
Yeah, you know
it's just
why?
amazing.
He's a household name. I mean, the guy's name is in movies. And I'll tell you what helps out with that, the popularity. What helps out is that he's still in all different types. He was so nice. That's my point. My point is that he was so nice to people. People would want his autograph. He'd go to hospitals. He'd sign and sign and sign. I think there are probably about 2,000 or 3,000 Babe Ruth autographs versus one Lou Gehrig autograph. So this guy was very popular. He was, he would do things with kids. In theaters, they would have these skits that kids would do, and then he'd give them an autograph. So he's still, an extremely, it's his name, Enrico Petrocelli. These are household names.
Yeah, I know it. I think Petrocelli is a little more household than Ruth.
It's an Italian deli.
Yes, Cliff Keen, who passed away, was a writer for the Boston Globe, and Cliff told us, this is going back when I first broke in, he told us that he saw Babe Ruth play, and he said he was the greatest. And at that time, he saw, Aaron and Mantle and Willie and all that. He said Ruth was the greatest player that ever played in the game because, number one, obviously his power, his average, his RBIs, his you name it. But he could run the bases. And he had a great arm. He was an outstanding outfielder with a great arm.
You would never think that he would be a great outfielder.
Yeah, I mean,
correct. Yeah.
Maybe later when he gained weight and slowed down a little bit,
and then he had those little skinny legs.
Yeah, imagine if he had DH was there at that time.
Oh God.
Oh, so yeah, great player.
Yeah, so we have a lot of we're Ruth heavy. We've got a lot of T cards. We have a high grade collection of 1910. P2 Sweet Caporal pins. Those pins are so beautiful. The condition, 101 different pins. Again, this type of stuff, it's like walking into the Smithsonian. So, how are you going to find this stuff? But jump into our auction. By the way, www.memorylaneinc.com. Hey, I'll tell you another piece. Lot 19's E90-2 Caramel Honus Wagner. It's an SGC2. Take a look at that portrait. Take a look at that image of Honus Wagner. I mean, close to the T206. If you can't afford a couple million, maybe you can afford 40 or 50 grand.
Well, that's what they say. They say that card is the poor man's T206 Honus Wagner.
Yeah, and it jumps out at you. It is an SGC2, but to me, it presents a lot better. It's just, you see the whole frame of his body. It's an incredible shot. You can even, you look at that card, that you see his jersey, and it screams like the flannel, is just coming off the card. So that's really cool. A bunch of Cracker Jack cards. We have, from Napoleon Lajoie to Eddie Seacott, Grover Alexander, Tris Speaker. Again, just these are high-end Hall of Famers.
That's a great, something that is such a great issue. Those Cracker Jacks, beautiful colors. When we wrote that book with Mallory, that was a fun project. Sure, that was just a great set.
And some of them have the caramel on them too, don't they?
You're exactly right. And on the back, because they'll have that stain for when they're in the caramel. But I'll tell you what,
Cracker Jack books.
I'll tell you what's really incredible about those cards. 99.9% of the time you find them graded. So people do not know that the card is it's like paper. So if you hold one raw, they literally they It's
bend. Wow.
They feel like paper. It's not a hard stock card. So another section of our auction, which is really incredible, are some extremely high-end signed mantle cards that are high grade, and the autographs are 10s, 9s, and 10s.
Another guy that has just held firm and solid since we've been in this hobby.
Yeah, I mean, autograph cards alone have taken off like you wouldn't believe. You could get these cards like back in the day. They said that, why would you collect a card with an autograph on it? Because it devalues the card because you're killing the condition. If you have a mint mantle today, like in an 8 or 9, it's going to get extraordinary numbers. But if it's signed, people said, you're crazy to get it signed because you're defacing the card. Then cut to 20, 30 years later, it's the hottest thing on the block because no one got cards signed. Or not no one, but a lot of people, decided not to get cards signed.
Good guy, Rico.
Yeah, because you couldn't. You couldn't get to some of the guys.
And Mantle was a good guy.
Oh, he was a great guy. He was very humble guy from Oklahoma. And people loved him.
Yeah, no,
he has that reputation, like Ruth. You think baseball, you think Mickey Mantle. And of course, I played against him, but Willie Mays, Aaron. I told you the. Koufax.
I mean, you played.
These guys were.
You played in the golden age of baseball.
Fortunate.
I mean, fortunate. Are you kidding me?
No,
you played with and against. I mean, people that are iconic.
Yeah, the icons.
Yeah, like literally the titans of baseball.
Really, that's just
on a serious note. That for you to be associated with that group of legends is by far. I mean. It's just an era. It's an era of real popular, like you said, like Mantle and Koufax and Aaron.
Hey, Dan,
that's how I got my my nickname. So if I would walk with Yaz, or sometimes with Aaron at a dinner or whatever it might be, they'd say, "Hey, look at that! It's Hank Aaron," and then they say, "Who's he?" That was my nickname. Who's he?
Oh God, you are.
No,
stop it.
Anyway,
okay. Here's what we're going to do, Dan. We're going to take a little break.
Sure,
but we're not a commercial break, because this is a very, very important part of the show. It is time for our segment On Deck with Rico.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we can't hear the music.
Right.
So just go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I can't hear anything.
Just go ahead.
In fact, I can't.
What did you say?
Yes.
Number 1 in our hearts. Number 1 on the roster. It's Rico Petroselli.
Chrissy, that was great. Very, very good. Okay, it's time for our segment On Deck with Rico, brought to us by our good friend Brian Dwyer and the great staff at REA Auctions. Don't forget to get your bid in by going to robertedwardauctions.com. That's Robert Edward Auctions for extraordinary results and extraordinary service. And Danny, you can chime in here. This is a good question.
It is?
This was submitted by Mike Miller.
Yeah, Mike.
Rico, this is kind of a two-part question.
All right.
What was the longest hitting streak you had? Number 1. And number 2, is the difference between a hitting streak and a slump all mental? So let's go back to number 1. What was your longest hitting streak? 4 games?
Yeah, 4 games. 4 games, right. And actually, it should have been an error. They gave me a hit. 4 games. I don't know if I had... Hey, I know the slump I had. Over 30.
No, let's talk about... I don't want to talk about this.
I'm telling you, 4 game. No, I think I had like 12, 14 game hitting streak.
You did?
One time, yeah. I couldn't count after 12.
A baker's dozen.
Right. Now, all right, so 12 or 14.
Yeah, something like
good.
that.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
It's not. It's not historic. Let's put it that way.
It's hysterical. That's
now, and your since we're on the subject, and Danny, you can chime in here. Your longest hitless streak was what?
0 for 32, and then I got a hit off my first hits of Robin Roberts. He was 82 years old. He was 82 years old, He's doing 60-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, he's actually 114 years old today.
Well,
I got jammed.
so after the hit that night, Rico sent him we just sent him a basket.
I did. He sent him a basket and flowers. Thank you.
All right, so Rick, what is the difference between a hitting streak and a slump? Is it mental? Is it all mental?
Not really. Bobby Doerr was because he was a great player, second baseman in the Red Sox, a Hall of Famer. He used to tell us it's part of it's mental, but usually you're doing something physically wrong. Okay. And what would happen if you get into a slump, you start trying all different things. Try this, try that.
So then it becomes mental.
Well, it is mental too. And when you're hitting well, the ball looks like a grapefruit, and your confidence just builds up. You just feel like you could hit anyone. But I tell you, I handled slumps real well. I told you what I would do. I'd after going over 14.
There we go.
No, I would go home, drive home.
128.
Stop on 128, a main highway, and park my car and walk to the middle, lay down, and hope somebody will run over me. That's how I handle slumps.
Oh God!
So that's anyway. Yeah, part of it's mental. There's no doubt about it. But usually taking your eye off the ball or overstriding, trying too hard, pressing. That's it.
Danny, what do you say about all this? Do you have a question for him or anything?
No.
You know what? I want to know back in the day. I'm going to get a little serious here, which is rare on this show. At the beginning of life, at the beginning when you decided baseball is going to be my, goal to be a professional baseball player, I'm going to take that road. How did you start? What came to you that said, "Hey, I like baseball. I'm going to play competitively and try and become a professional baseball player"?
That's a good question, because my number one sport was basketball at a very young age, 5, 6, 7 years old, because it was all you needed was a basketball, and it was not expensive. But the big thing was that my family moved from one section, Italian section, where there was very volatile. There was a lot of
mob stuff,
the mob stuff and all that. Guys getting killed every other day and bing. And so we fought a lot. Kids there, young guys are always fighting. So we moved to an area that was predominantly Jewish, but mixed, certain areas. And so one day we moved right next to a schoolyard, the school I went to, and we had the schoolyard. So went to school. We had this free time. Everybody went to the schoolyard and played. So I had this pink, Spalding, we used to call it, ball, and I was throwing it up, trying to get higher and higher. And then one time it came down, hit off my hand, and started rolling. And this other kid went after the ball. I thought he was going to take the ball and take off.
That's because of where you came from.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I ran at the kid, and he had the ball, and I went and I punched him. I'm sorry. I punched the kid, and it was like, "What are you trying to do? Steal my ball?" No. And another kid came over to me, Bobby Silverman. He's passed away since then. But Bob said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean what I'm doing? He's trying to take my ball." He says, "No, we don't do that." He wasn't trying. He was trying to get you the ball to bring it back. I said, "Well, I don't know about that." He says, "You want to play ball?" I said, "Yeah, my father's a coach of a youth team, like a little league, 12 years old." I said, "I don't know." So he gave me a uniform, and I put it on and looked at it. I said, "Hey, that's cool, man." So I said, "Yeah, I'll play." "Where do you play? What position?" "I don't know. I'll pitch, I'll play somewhere." So I started pitching. That was the beginning of my baseball career, really sports, because I lived right next door to a schoolyard. And we had the basketball courts. We played softball, even football, tackle.
That is very,
so
very
R.I.P. Bobby Silverman.
Bobby Silverman, he was closest friend. Stewie Levine. I had such great kids. But I also had, because of my past, I had a group of guys that were a little tougher. Stand on the corner,
like Charlie Bombats.
And Vito Genovese.
Genovese's kid.
Carlito Gambino.
Right.
Yeah.
But something, Rico, that's a great story. You never told me that story.
No, well, I don't tell you all things.
Started, Rico, you started then as far as that's where you for the love of the game. Now let's cut to, I got a quick question for you. How does it feel to be called a Hall of Famer? Seriously, how does it feel?
Red Sox Hall of Famer.
Yeah. A Red Sox Hall of Famer.
It's an honor. There's no doubt about it. Once they started, of course, Ted Williams was the first guy in and some of the older guys. And then when we got the call, I was on with Tiant, Dick Raditz, Mel Parnell at the time. This was 1997. And wow, they had a big dinner and we went up there and it was
I know he hates when I tout his horn, blow his horn, but in the most recent survey, Red Sox survey, they have Rico Petrocelli as the number 3 greatest shortstop in team history, which is the only two ahead of him were Nomar and Xander Bogaerts, and they have Rico as number 3. And I mean, there were some players, Rico, that were great. Johnny was
Pesky was at shortstop.
He was
that's an honor, but those things, a lot of times,
it's a feather in your cap, though.
Yeah,
it really is.
Where's my cap?
All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. Danny's in the house.
Enough about me, too.
Dan, that's why we love you coming on, man, because we can go in any different direction with you, and we love it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Rico Petrocelli. Right now, thousands of children are facing the most difficult times in their lives with serious illness, homelessness, and other tragedies. I hope that you can join us on March 2nd at the County Line Restaurant in Juno Beach, Florida, for a live auction and some great baseball talk. If you can't join us, please consider a donation to littlesmilesfl.org. That's littlesmilesfl.org to help these kids. And when you donate, please mention the Great American Collectibles Show. We hope you'll help.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and don't forget, in a little while, Dan Wilkinson with us, and in a little while, Al Crisifulli from Love of the Game Auctions is going to be joining us. In the meantime, Rico, tell us about our good friend Charlie Perino and the gang at JRI
My
Cards.
pleasure.
Now, read it correctly. Read it, please.
If you want to have an absolute blast at obtaining some great modern and vintage cards, you got to check out JRI Cards. Our paisan, Charlie the Iron Ripper Perino, along with Money Marco, the Dollar Girls, and the JR Gang, and Al Capone, give you the chance to participate in opening a graded, unopened, and sealed fresh wax, or I call it cello, pack of your favorite
Cello's
sport
an
or non-sport favorite. It's easy. You buy in, Charlie opens the pack, and you get a pack fresh card. It's that simple. As a matter of fact, if you pull that special jewel, the guys at JR Cards will even have it graded for you on the house. Featured in the LA Times, ESPN, and USA Radio, JRI is the hottest card pulling show on the internet. Charlie and the staff make it fun, entertaining, and enjoyable with his collection of hats and sound effects. And don't forget that JRI donates a part of their proceeds to various charities. That's JRI Cards. Check out their exclusive breaks and events that everyone is talking about. They're always digging up cardboard treasures. For a great hobby experience, go to jricards.com.
Okay. Welcome.
I need oxygen. You got any oxygen?
Okay. Welcome to another GAX moment, brought to you by our good friend Paul Borges and the great staff at PB Collectables. Go to pbcollectables.com to find that special card or piece of memorabilia. This week, I want to talk about something that a good friend of ours, Al Crisifulli, regarding an editorial that he wrote about needing a standard catalog again. And I couldn't agree with him more. A good friend, Al, from Love of the Game Auctions, recently wrote an article on the need and importance of reestablishing the standard vintage catalog, baseball catalog again. When the editor of the Standard Catalog, Bob Lemke, passed away, the parent company, F&W Media, filed for bankruptcy protection, and the publishing assets were purchased by Penguin Random House. Active Interest Media also jumped in, buying the Collectables magazine's positions from F&W. It gets a little convoluted. The long and the short of it is that nobody is producing a standard catalog of vintage baseball cards. We're not even sure who owns it. Published pricing in a new standard catalog is really not necessary because you can find pricing anywhere on the internet. That's not what we're looking for. What's important is a publication that produces and updates checklist catalogs, new variations, and discoveries, as well as updating the hobby's knowledge base. For example, if a dealer or auction house makes a new discovery of additional cards to a particular set that nobody knew existed, who do they report it to? Who do they report? I mean, it doesn't make sense. As an additional problem, none of the third-party grading companies will accept uncatalogued variations or cards because they're not cataloged. As I said, we really don't know who owns the standard catalog, but the good folks at Sabre are willing to do the research if the owner donates the rights and assets to them. They are willing to update it annually. Sabre is a perfect case for producing the catalog. And if not Sabre, then maybe the Hall of Fame should consider stepping up to the plate. The bottom line here is that we need a standard catalog. It is of the utmost importance. And that's another GAX moment.
I agree with you 100% because it just carries on the information needs to be saved and archived because 200-300 years down the road, you're going to talk about variations from T206s. They might find more variations of cards and sets like that. So it only helps and strengthens the hobby.
Well, here's the other thing. Al's going to be joining us a little later on. He'll give us a couple of examples where he discovered with some, I can't remember one of the Babe Ruth issues, they discovered more cards. More cards, and they couldn't get them authenticated. Yeah, PSA would not authenticate it because they weren't cataloged. So PSA says we can't do it. That's why it's important that we really have a standard catalog. I think it is so important, Dan.
Yeah, and another reason why I think our hobby is so great is that people say, well, things are drying up. There are still so many basements all around the world where people are starting to discover cards, find them. And I'll tell you, from candy shop owners who would just put things in the basement, the house would sell 3 times over, they'd find things. And it's great to continue to see there's all these like neat discoveries.
Well, I got a question for you now. This young man next to me,
young,
we go at it with this.
The modern, oh God,
has the modern. Let me
go ahead.
The modern collector seen the
read the question.
He said. Read the question. Has the modern collector seen the light about diversifying? Okay, of course.
Well, what do you think? Let me answer that question.
Dan, what do you think?
Has the modern collector seen the light about diversification?
Yeah.
It's getting better. It's getting better. You know, all these new card guys are starting to, diversify and get into more vintage. It's real. It's black and white. It's plain and simple. They're learning about the hobby. They're seeing where, they're getting a little bit smarter, understanding that scarcity pays. If you're going to buy low pop, you're going to get a great return. And with newer cards, they're starting to realize how to educate themselves and go to the PSA Pop Report and see that a card in a 10, there's 10,000. And I'm not exaggerating, like the Luka Doncic. We go over this every time I'm on this basketball card of this like legendary Hall of Famer. There's over 20, and I'm not kidding, 20,000 PSA 10s. So they're starting to educate themselves and realizing that scarcity, it's supply and demand. So they are.
Again, to add to that, in my opinion, the card companies that are producing these cards are kind of marketing the cards. And we've talked about it many times, but there are people that they use to market those cards to get the word out to these young investors. Hey, you should really buy this card. This is a great card. You know what I'm saying?
Buyer beware.
Yeah, but he said, the young investors. Okay, we're not talking about what.
Look in the camera.
Oh, hello. No, we're not talking about the if you will, professional collector who has a little bit more money, can get into vintage, maybe some cards in vintage, but also taking a shot at some of these other more modern cards.
But Rick,
that's all.
I mean, at the beginning, especially, again, I've used this example a million times, but it's the truth. When the Wander Franco rookie card came out, some guys were investing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in that card because it was a PSA 10.
Yeah.
True or false, Dan?
Oh, 100%. And they had cards with 101 cards, and that's where you have to be careful. That's you're rolling the dice, you're gambling.
Yes.
And and you also have these young kids. Don't discount the income that some of these kids have, because some of these influencers make more money than all three of us put together.
Absolutely agree with you.
Our lifetime.
Absolutely agree.
These 20-something-year-olds that are making 5-10 million that are getting kickbacks on advertising to be influencers. It's happening. And so I don't discount. I say you're in your 20s, get educated and figure out a good path and read the POP report and understand scarcity.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. Highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
Yes, Petroselli Marketing. Yes, friend of the family.
Friend of the family, all right.
Yeah, the son first saw. But look, Petroselli Marketing. I started in 1999. My son took
1928.
Over. They didn't have it then. But they serve clients. Mike serves clients all over the country. So you can, it's the internet and all that stuff, and get your logo. Anyway, go to 800-860-4623. Also, he gave you another number, petrosellimkt.com. Believe me, he does a great job. Thank you.
Okay, we kind of lost power down here in Florida. We had this big wind come through. The next thing, the internet was down. So anyway, we are back, and we're all here, right? Danny's here. Big Al is here. Al, how are you?
Yep. How are you?
Hey,
good.
Al,
all right, Al. Crisifulli.
Looks like you guys didn't pay the rent. You're like
no. We've got plenty of time. We got about 20 minutes left.
What is this?
You froze like Walt Disney.
You know what happened? Honest to God, we were sitting here and we're looking out the window. This big wind came through, and we were talking. Rico and I thought we were still on. You guys had frozen. And I said, Rick,
it's like a mini hurricane.
It was unbelievable. Just like push. Anyway, we are back. Hey, Al, you didn't hear my Gax moment today. I don't know if you did.
No.
Okay. We talked about I used your editorial that you wrote on the Standard Catalog and needing it, and how much we do need a Standard Catalog. Can you give us a couple of examples that happened to you as to one of the reasons why? Can you do that?
Absolutely. And
you guys know each other, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a thing that happens to us a couple times a year, actually, where we're kind of known for stuff you don't see every day. And so because of that, a lot of times material comes in that's uncatalogued, that needs a little help. A perfect example is the Herpelsheimer cards, the 1921 Herpelsheimer cards that we just sold 39 of them. There were previously there was only one example of each of 69 or 70 cards. Nobody knew if the cards had ever been issued. Nobody knew if there was more than one card in existence because it was only one of each player. And it had been like that since the cards were discovered back in 2004. We, got a consignment of 39 newly discovered cards. So some were dupes to the ones that had come from the first find, and others were never. They were the first example known. And in the process of researching these cards and during the course of the auction, a couple of guys over on the Net 54 message boards found an old ad from the store And we were able to use that and dig in a little bit and learn that the cards were distributed. There was a complete set of 80, and the cards were issued. If you went to the boys department of the Herpelsheimer store and bought a new suit, you got a free set of baseball cards, 80 cards, and all of that changed everything in the standard catalog. It changed everything about, what's written about that set. It has changed. I'll give you another example right here. This is a really, really cool thing. I don't know if you can really see it. This is a 1921 Voskamp's Coffee Bill Skiff. Okay. Voskamp's Coffee was a company based in Pittsburgh. And in 1910, they issued a set of cards, of 20 cards featuring members of the Pirates. They did it again in 1921. Up until this thing that I'm holding in my hand, there is only one example of a card from this set that has ever been discovered. Okay. The checklist has one card. They happen to know because on the back of the cards, it says the 20 cards that were included in the set. So they know what the 20 cards that would have been issued are. But there's only been one card ever discovered, and it was sold at an auction a few years ago. And here's the second known example. Okay. There needs to be a place to report this stuff. There needs to be a resource for this kind of information. I think what's happening with the hobby right now, especially in light of this post-pandemic sort of boom, is companies are losing sight of the fact that this is not just all about profit, right? We're stewards of this hobby. It's going to be here after we're all gone, and we owe something to it. The standard catalog has been a thing that's been out there, and it's been the central resource for collectors. It's been the Bible for collectors forever, or not forever, but for years. And so now that unfortunately Bob Lemke passed away, he was the editor. He passed away in 2016. There has not been a new issue of the standard catalog published. Nobody knows who owns it. Nobody knows. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so if you find some variation, if you find some error, which, think about it, collectors do all the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the time. And you used to report those things to the standard catalog. And the grading companies use that. Auction houses use it. It's the Bible. Dealers use it. Collectors use it. This is how we all share our knowledge and how we learn from each other. And that resource is just gone. And what I'm sort of calling on is the Sabre Baseball Cards Committee to resume publishing the standard catalog. But in order to do that, somebody's got to give it to them.
Rick,
why don't you guys? Both of you can answer. Why don't you form an association? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't. I mean.
Why?
You can, but
but
it's still. I mean,
it would go to the association. Would be one of their responsibilities.
Great question. We tried doing that a long time ago at one of the shows. We had a huge conference, and we tried putting together an association.
Yeah.
It's getting people on board, and getting people on board is really tough. And Al can talk about that as well.
Yeah, my
can't have people out of the hobby, meaning that they would know something.
Well, something, Al.
Card company.
He's making a good point because, what would happen? I mean, Dan, I'm going to use you guys as an example along with a love of the game. I'm assuming you're in agreement with Al that a standard catalog is needed, correct?
100%. I mean, we had Marshall Fogel and Levi Bleem, and we had a great group of people that were ready to do this. And it just kind of fizzled out. And like Al was saying, if Sabre can jump in, if they can have an association like a collab with like the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, this needs to be taken seriously to.
Okay, but here's my question. Okay, well, here's my question to both of you guys. So Rico made a comment about an association. What would happen if all of the big time dealers, collectors, everybody did put this association together, and then everybody chips in a few bucks and pays somebody to pick up? You don't need to pick up the standard. I mean, you create a new standard catalog, I guess, Al. Is that a possibility?
So to address the first point about the association, I think what we're doing here is we're trying to invent something that's already invented. Sabre has the baseball cards committee.
Okay.
That should be the association. Right. They should have a more visible role in the hobby. They're all scholars there. They're researchers.
They're great. They're great.
Yeah, and as being a part of Sabre, which is a great organization to begin with, this is a way that you can sort of elevate, baseball in general. In terms of why not start from scratch, think about the years and years and years of research that's in that standard catalog already. I mean, just the paragraph that introduces each set and explains who owned the company and how they were distributed and why should we reinvent the wheel when that knowledge already exists and it's already there? It's just not being used by whoever it is that owns it.
So you can't pick up with. I see what you're saying. You can't.
You can.
Well, what's already copyrighted, you can't pick that up.
Right. That's transfer.
You can have them be available to Sabre.
Right. So is it realistic? Is it possible for some organization? Is it possible for Sabre to say, okay, we're going to dive in and we're going to start right from the beginning and we're going to build the standard catalog? Yeah, but why not just, instead of saying we've got to start with 1869, why not just say we got to start with 2016? And all of this information that's already available, we can build on, and rather than start.
Good idea.
All right. So if that's your premise, which I agree with, again, why do you those other books, the standard catalog already exist.
Right.
So Sabre would pick it up from 2016 on, right?
Right.
So why do you need to have someone to donate
the rights?
Because they're taking copyrighted information out of the standard catalog. That's what the issue.
So you're saying this stuff from 2016 back?
Yeah, like why throw that out? Why not expand on it? And
that's a great idea.
If there's an organization that already owns it that's not using it,
right.
I guess what my issue is whoever owns it. I don't know who it is. It could be Penguin Random House, which purchased the books from Krause. It could be AIM, which is I can't remember what the acronym is, but they own SCD and a bunch of the magazines that came from Krause.
Right.
Or it could be some other entity. Or it could be completely unclear. Maybe nobody knows. Maybe after Bob passed away. But somebody owns that intellectual property, and my contention is either use it, either publish the thing, or donate those assets to somebody. Value them and donate them to Sabre.
Makes sense.
Let Sabre go ahead and take over and publish it, and take whatever tax benefit you can by writing, by writing off those assets or whatever it is that you do. I don't understand any of that stuff. I could barely speak English, but
like your sideburns, so man.
Nice sideburn. We are chatting with Al Crisifulli and Danny Wulkin from Memory Lane and Love of the Game Auctions.
Hey, Tom.
Just let's go back and forth, guys.
With the catalog, they could sell so much advertising. It's insane to support.
Crazy.
Tom, publishing firsthand and what it costs. They could sell so much advertising to cover that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Al.
Sabre has this whole publishing division where they publish research materials, they publish books, they know how to do this, and so it could be digital for X number of years, and then every third year or fourth year they make a printed one. There would be no reason for the one thing that the standard catalog did was it tried to stay on top of prices. And it's not necessary anymore. Technology is.
Well, I got a lot of the information that I got from Rico, starting in 1885. He's all the guys he played
he took
with.
Notes back then.
Exactly, right?
King Kelly.
Well, I don't want to say anything about it. What's the problem, guys? Is it getting somebody that wants to do this?
No, you got to find out who owns the rights. The guy's dead.
Somebody's got to do it. One of the auction houses is Al.
He's been trying to research. You can't find
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I also feel like as an auction, some people have asked me, well, why don't you do it? I have an auction house. That's what I do.
It would be that's a full-time job. It's a full-time.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, maybe Mallory. Hey, talk to Mallory. Maybe Mallory.
Get somebody that's really.
Anyway,
you guys are a little. You're touching a lot. You're side by side. I don't know. I kind of just saw that. You guys are kind of close.
Listen to this. Look at one piece of paper separates us.
And he's got shorts on.
And I got to tell you something.
COVID wardrobe.
And I got to tell you something.
I'm too old.
Ellen and Elsie. Rico brought Elsie, his beautiful wife, to my house. And Ellen and Elsie, they're out there drinking. They've been out there for 2 hours.
I thought they'd be blown away by the hurricane.
I don't know where they went. I want to ask both of you guys. Oh, by the way, Al, you have no auction going on right now, but you have one coming up when?
Coming up in March. It's going to close March 30th. So we're still gathering consignments for that one. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a really good one.
Any good tidbits you can throw out? You got any tidbits?
We have this great Jackie Robinson card. That's this 1947 Bond bred exhibit Jackie Robinson coming in from some guy down south. It's a
good card. It's a good card.
Yeah, we've got some great stuff though. We've got, last auction we had a Punch Cigars Pete Hill. I'm sorry. This time we have a Punch Cigar. We have Punch Cigars Pete Hill. We had Pop Lloyd in the last auction. We got Pete Hill in this auction, and hopefully we'll continue the trend of record-breaking sales on Negro League cards. We've also got some other just fantastic stuff coming down the pike in that auction. I'm really excited. I'm about to.
Danny, your auction ends. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Our auction ends this Saturday, 7:00 Eastern Standard Time, with extended bidding. You got to get in before 7:00 Eastern Standard Time in order to continue to bid. But with what Al sells, auctions off a lot of incredible items. What would be so cool is bringing a class into colleges and kind of like teaching, because is monotonous the right word, where you're in school, you have your classes during the day. Why not throw something in with collectibles with who
does that? I tell you what, Al, Paul Borges, right? From PB Collectibles.
I don't. Oh yeah. Okay.
Al's a great. Paul's a great guy.
Al's great too.
Paul teaches. Right. Paul teaches at a college in Rhode Island. He's a business professor, and he has done that. He has incorporated some of the collectibles world into his business classes. So, and that's a great idea, Danny. Great idea,
guys. How do you get these consignments? You just
Al, go ahead.
They rob people. What do you think? How do you think they get them? They mug people.
Hey.
Go ahead, Al. You
have a sort of a staple group of people that are collectors that you have relationships with, and you can go back to. There are also, we get a lot of stuff from outside the hobby. We spend a lot of time, talking to people who are they have parents. They have stuff in their attic. They have, we work a lot with people who are first-time consigners, or maybe even only-time consigners, to bring some of this. And that's where a lot of the stuff that you never see comes from. We had one maybe 2 years ago that came from the estate of a former dead ball era pitcher named Barney Pelty, who was one of the early Jewish players in baseball. He played for the St. Louis Browns, and I think it was his granddaughter that called us and said, "We have all these pictures, and we're going to just throw them out if you don't think they're valuable." And there was a stack of 1908 Bregstone postcards. There was about 25 of them. They're super, super rare postcards. There were all these. This was another one that we needed, the standard catalog. I have in here. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, here we go.
I like that turntable, by the way.
Nice.
It's my old, I couldn't stand it anymore. We moved into this new office and I have no music, and I like had to get a little system so I could spin records during the day. So this is one of the Bregstone postcards, and you'll see the PSA, no, they won't hold her.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's a different pose. It's not cataloged, and so it's a different pose, and the layout is a little bit different. And so we can't get it in holder. And that's another example.
Exactly what you're talking about.
But that came from that estate, from Barney Pelton's estate. It was about $200,000 worth of stuff that they had in their attic. Yeah.
Danny, what about you? How do you guys get them? From all over the place?
I mean, we have clients from back in the day, and there are a lot of, as clients get older, they decide to, move on and kind of pass these collections off to cash in so they can, leave money for, their kids and stuff like that. But I mean, we advertise everywhere, inside and outside the hobby, and that's key. And I don't think enough people do that outside the hobby like Al does and we do. So, it's just repeat business. And it's not surprising that we'll get some real rare items from, past consigners or collectors or, and like Al said before, pandemic, we had a huge boom in the hobby. So, it's the idea that, with a stockbroker, you could make 4 or 5%, today, probably about 7, 8, 10%. But in our hobby, they see the turnaround, they see, the profit they can make. And if they can double, triple their money, that's a sound investment that, they can turn into a huge profit. So,
you should do like Vinny Bada Bing does in Boston down the North End. Yeah.
What does he do?
Well, he breaks legs.
That's how you do it.
That's the thing. What the heck?
Yeah.
I'm serious.
People. Things. All
right, listen, we're just about out of time. Dan, your auction ends Saturday night, and the website address is?
www.memorylaneinc.com. It ends on the 13th this Saturday, 7:00 Eastern Standard Time.
And now, if you want to see some really crazy Babe Ruth stuff, look at that Memory Lane. I mean, they've got
some cool stuff
that you just never see.
Hey, Tom, can I blow you away for 1 second?
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds.
Okay, all right, real quick. The only known photo matched Lou Gehrig, bat right bat. This came from Al's auction many years ago, and this is actually Lou Gehrig's game used photo matched bat.
Wow, very cool. Very cool.
Thank
Look at
God.
that. All right, listen. Oh, by the way, Al, I'm going to put the arm on you. Dan, thank you so much for the unbelievable memorabilia you sent us for the Little Smiles auction. And Al, thank you so much, because we know you're sending us something.
It's coming. I thought I had till March.
Send us one of those Babe Ruth items.
Talk to Dan about that Derek bat. That'll be beautiful.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Listen, have a great week. We
It
love
was
you
really
guys.
fun
You know what you both mean to us.
Yes.
You guys have been fantastic. To our viewers and listeners, sorry for the little bumpy internet stuff, but that wasn't our fault. It was a hurricane. Mother
You better go check on your wives.
Exactly. Good point. With that being said, happy collecting.
See you guys.
Hello.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.